Welcome to the review show of the 2013 FIM Maxxis Enduro World Championship. Round 1 is Chile. For the second consecutive year, Talca hosted the opening round of the Maxxis FIM EWC. With its extraordinary geography, its people and its culture, Chile is simply one of the most incredible places in the world. 3 hours from the capital Santiago, Talca is a city of 200,000 people and housed in the heart of a major wine region. The history of Talca is also linked to tragedies of many earthquakes that have shaken the region. The city has been reconstructed twice, in 1928 and most recently in 2010. Friday night and the season begins with a traditional super test. 124 riders at the start, the show and the first winner.
Hey baby, you're so powerful. Hey baby, you're invincible. Hey baby, you're so powerful, with your sex appeal.
Frenchman Johnny Albert, riding in the E2 class for KTM, would take the first victory of the season. Saturday morning, and the start of the first proper day of competition. In EWC, each day counts for a different race, therefore valuable points are at stake. The weather is overcast, but warm. The Chilean tracks are not the longest. Every day the riders will run 3 laps of 58 kilometres. It means an effort of 6 hours and 45 minutes for the men and machines in this searing overcast heat. The ground is as hard as concrete, covered with a thin layer of dust. The difficulty all weekend long then is to find grip and not get tricked. The Spaniard Cristobal Guerrero's season gets off to a dreadful start. He falls, damaging his collarbone. It means 2 DNFs and an early season of operations and recovery. Matti Seistula wants to be in the game in 2013 after a disappointing 2012. The Finn was at the limit on Chilean ground, struggling, picking up a 3rd and a 4th despite this small crash on day 2. Saturday, Seistula's teammate and compatriot Juha Salminen fought for close victory, but the Husqvarna rider missed the victory because of an error in the very last time section. In the second day, he was less strong and finished 5th. The Finnish representatives in E1 are many. Among them, Eero Remes would discover a new 254-stroke TM. Saturday he was 7th, but with good momentum, he takes a podium on Sunday in 3rd place. The Enduro 1 class is not only full of Finnish, there is an Italian, Thomas Aldrati. Nobody expected the Husqvarna rider to take 2nd place on Sunday, a surprisingly strong start. The defending champion is the favourite. Frenchman Antoine Mayo had to open the track on Saturday, which was a heavy task. There were some errors in the first day, which made victory more difficult. But by Sunday, he was able to complete a full double. The KTM rider then starting the season with a full house of points. At the start of the season in Enduro 2 class, Spaniard Ivan Cervantes was with new colours. That of KTM, the brand with 4 titles. and this move gifted him 2 podiums. Winner of the Super Test, the Frenchman Johnny Aubert, continued his good rhythm with a 2nd and 3rd place, matching Cervantes' results. The defending champion was that of Frenchman Pierre-Alexandre René. Same machine, the Husaberg 450, and ambition is clear. The season start could not have been better for him. The first victory in the first round, a fall penalised on day 2 to the bottom of the podium. The victory in the second race was won by a newcomer at HM Honda, Alex Salvini. A clear advantage moving the old motocross rider entered his 3rd season in Enduro, and this an almost unexpected success. I'm very happy. First victory in E2, first victory in Enduro. Today was a hard day, a sprint for the first to the last special test. I was quick, I had a small mistake, and that made me lose 15 seconds, but I could push until the last lap and get this first win. Salvini, could he carry the momentum through? For Eldar Liok, the year did not begin well. In the second round, the Estonian suffered in the Enduro test. Having been strong in South America last year, the TM rider would want to forget this Grand Prix of Chile. A newcomer in the Enduro 3 class, from the small bike of the E1, Roderick Tin had an encouraging start aboard the Gas 300cc 2-stroke and grabs a podium in the second round. Ultra favourite though, the winner of the 2012 season, Christophe Namboutin. He knew he would struggle to get back into the rhythm after a long winter recovering from injury. A huge crash damages his bike and the chances on day 1, but he makes up for it on the second day. It benefits Joachim Lundgren, who rode excellently. The Swede won the Saturday race, his first victory in the E3 class, and matches his French rival with a 2nd on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy. It feels unreal because yeah, it was many years ago since I win a race. It was the last time in Sweden, in Östersund, in the snow. So yeah, it feels so good, the start of the season, and to beat Namboutin is so nice.
Lundgren and Namboutin then sharing equal top spot after the weekend. The junior category is back for 2013 with a fresh crop of youngsters. The champion in 2012 having moved on. Among the contenders to succeed, Australian Matthew Phillips took 5th and 3rd place, but many showed promise. Swede Kavan Strong, Spaniard Roman, and the Frenchman Larreau. But none of them are able to compete with the winner of both days, Italian Giacomo Redondi. I am very happy with these 2 days in Chile. I've managed to win both. I love my new bike. I must thank my new team, Ferroli, that gave me this bike. I think I like it a lot. The South American tour continued a week later, with the 2nd of 7 Grand Prix of 2013 in Argentina. The trip from Chile was beautiful, but long, over the Andes. The San Juan region is a summary of the wealth of Argentine culture. Vineyards once again provide much of the wealth. Riders know this terrain very well from the 2012 version of the event, and if they're lucky, having competed on the Dakar. The days would be long. Nearly 8 hours of effort. The number of specials impressive, 13 every day, over 200 kilometres. The names of the places visited have marked the history of motorsports. Ulm, the Quebrada de Zonda, and many more. These places famous for the Dakar mystique and stunning playgrounds for the riders. The layout has changed slightly from the 2012 edition. It'll be faster, steeper, more dangerous, more dramatic. Argentina in E1. Matti Seisula is in the game, twice on the podium. He was still 30 seconds behind the winner, behind the two giants in small bikes. Juha Salminen, 9-time world champion, was strong and about to snag a victory in the first round, but bad luck strikes. A crash damages the bike and he DNFs. It's fuel for revenge on the second day though. During the Sunday race, the Finn is on par with Antoine Mayo. Under pressure, the Frenchman stays calm. An 8-second advantage on the very last stage hands him a 4th victory, in addition to the previous day. The secret was a lack of mistakes from Mayo, unlike many others. Psychologically, it's a great boost after the first 2 rounds. I can't say we were far from the limit. We were all doing many mistakes. This morning I started well in the Enduro test. I had something like 10 seconds of a gap. I was way too confident. I crashed in the extreme test. I think we all have to be more consistent, to do less mistakes, and it should be a nice championship. Mayo, 4 out of 4. This is one of the few water splashes to cross on the Argentine route, but the Spaniard Oriol Mena struggles. He finishes 8th. Another Spaniard, Victor Guerrero, Cristobal's younger brother, enters the top 6 on his second outing in the seniors. In Argentina and Chile, the British giant David Knight, riding a private Honda, is no longer the dominator he once was. 2/5 is all that he can manage. The Frenchman Johnny Aubert damaged the rear brake on the first day and loses precious seconds, but manages to salvage a podium. His compatriot Pierre-Alexandre René fought for the victory in the first day of racing, but made a small mistake at the end, a slight fall which deprived him of the first place. The Husaberg rider ends up second. It's this kind of terrain that Ivan Cervantes thrives on. The conditions are not unlike those sometimes encountered in the south of Spain. KTM rider is one of the fastest. One of the fastest, but in the second race, victory eludes him by less than 9 seconds. Saturday, as on Sunday, Italian Alex Salvini is the surprise dominator. A week after his first victory, the new boss of E2 took a double. In Chile, it was a revelation, but in Argentina, this is confirmation. Salvini is very strong on a Honda. The end of the road for Frenchman Rodrigue Tin in the Enduro 3 class. He injured his shoulder in a fall and the dizzying descent on the Enduro test. He would be out. Portugal's Luis Correa, spearheading the Beta team, managed a podium, finishing third on the first day. Encouraging results also for the Italian Manuel Moni. Embarking on an unofficial KTM, he is on the podium in the second round. Victory 1 week ago in Chile, Joachim Lundgren knows it would be difficult to match in Argentina. A fourth on Saturday, then an improvement, a second on Sunday. But no one could touch this man, Christophe Nambertin. The defending champion has a more complicated start to the season than you'd imagine. Winner on Saturday, he did have problems on Sunday when, from a jump, the carburettor disconnects. Unlikely issue. That benefited Estonian Elgar Ljok. Victorious in the second round a week after his disappointing run in Chile. A great comeback. So 2 Grand Prix gone then in Enduro 3. And with Ljok, Lundgren and Nambertin, 3 different winners. In the juniors, the situation has changed. After domination in the Chilean opener, Giacomo Redondi fell back for another Italian rider, Rudy Moroni. Riding for KTM, he won race 2. But the biggest surprise of the weekend came from the Antipodes. Australian Matthew Phillips, Husqvarna's rookie, earned his first win in Enduro with a great fight with Brit Dan McCanney. Successively, the first and second, the new Tasmanian Devil showed a lot of ambition.
Yeah, I'd love to win the junior championship this year and move on to maybe E2, E3 on the bigger bike. But you know, let's just get each round out of the way first and hopefully keep healthy and keep positive.
Ahí va, con todos, con todos. Qué lindo.
Round 3 in the Enduro World Championship headed back to Europe for a classic of the genre, the Spanish Grand Prix in Puerto Lumbreras. Round 3. Known throughout Spain for its cave dwellings, the town of Puerto Lumbreras, for the third time in 10 years, hosts the EWC. Located midway between Alicante, Murcia and Almería, in the southeast of Spain, this small community lives quietly at its own special rhythm and its weekly market. After an exotic South American tour, the Maxxis FIM EWC rediscovers the richness of Iberia. Without a super test, riders head straight into the thick of it on the first day of racing. There is a huge tradition of Enduro in Puerto Lumbreras. The city welcomed the first event ever of modern EWC in 2004 when French company ABC Communication became promoter of the championship. Christophe Nambertin was a young motocross rider at that time, but in 2004 winners were not strangers. Stefan Merriman, Juha Salminen and Ivan Cervantes. 4 laps of 45 kilometres the programme. 7 hours and 15 minutes of effort. The track on the rally can look like a trial circuit on some parts. The Spanish Grand Prix is very technical. It'll be very easy to lose out time, even in the liaison. Here is the reward for those who pass the stony uphills, getting to the time check. Just a second of rest before the special test begins. 12 time sections, it's 1 hour of timing, end of the day. The extreme test is the hardest portion of the Spanish track. Big uphills, and then thrilling downhills. Early on, the Brit David Knight is forced to retire from E2, injuring his finger. The beginning of the end for the Manxman. In Spain, the championship switched to the detriment of leader Antoine Mayo. The Frenchman fell heavily in the Enduro test, knocking himself out and putting paid to the first day. Remarkably though, he bounced back to win a day later. Juha Salminen failed to capitalise, only 4th in the first round and 3rd on day 2. The Finn missed this great opportunity to regain the championship points lead. Cristobal Guerrero, who damaged his collarbone on day 1 of 2013, gradually found his full form and took 3rd place on Saturday. For Eero Remes, the disappointment of South America was behind him, and by Spain, suddenly he was a contender for victory. The Finn from TM missed out by only 8 seconds on the first day, but managed 2-second spots from the weekend. This is the other Finn, Matti Seistula, the winner of the first round. He was the one who took advantage mainly of Salminen and Mayo's faults. His victory only came at the very, very last stage, however. Remes fought hard.
I had after 2 laps quite comfortable lead, 13 seconds, but then I crashed in the extra test and lost all of that. So after that it was good battle again with Eero Remes and Cristobal Guerrero, and but at the end I'm really happy to win.
But can the Finns fight off the Frenchmen? The Frenchman of E2, Johnny Aubert, counted on the return of Europe to earn a first victory in 2013, but simply he lacked speed to play against the other heavyweights of his category. Aubert 3rd and 4th. Another French Enduro 2 rider, Pierre-Alexandre René, also lost some ground. After a busy time, ahead of the race, he fell backwards to 4th place on Saturday, a better place on Sunday with a 3rd. The man now feared in the Enduro 2 class is the surprise championship leader Alex Salvini. Once again, he is in touch for victory. But Salvini is not invincible. Small errors deprive him of success. Nothing serious, but the Italian HM Honda has to rest for 2 second places. The great hero of the Spanish Grand Prix then is Ivan Cervantes. He took a brace of wins on home soil, moving to within 9 points of Alex Salvini. The battle was between the two men all weekend, and with the new KTM rider adding pressure to the Italian, supported by his enthusiastic public, he was able to grab both victories. I'm very happy because it's my second consecutive win. Here in Puerto Lumbreras, it's incredible. I come back in the fight for the world crown. I don't have any words. It's a really big emotion. To think what I did yesterday is incredible. In Enduro 3, Matthias Bellino had seen his early season delays due to a wrist operation. But the 2012 World Junior Champion returned triumphantly to take 4th place in the second round. Joachim Lundgren experienced mixed fortunes. He struggled on day 1, but on the second day was more to his advantage with a 2nd spot. His greatest rival Elgar Liok was not at full strength, carrying 2 broken ribs from a crash in the Estonian Championship. In Spain, it was damage limitation and mission accomplished. He remained on the podium of the Spanish Grand Prix. With an injured Liok and an irregular Lundgren, the opportunity was too good for Manuel Moni to miss. The Italian privateer illustrated once again how strong he is, taking a 2nd on the Saturday. With 7 stage wins on the first day, Christophe Nambertin is more dominant than in South America. On both days, in fact, he is dominating and certainly comfortable, leading the championship now with a 13-point advantage. The French winner was not wholly satisfied though with his performance in Spain. Mentally, I'm not at the top level. Physically, I'm also struggling a little. I can't train, and I'm missing some strength in the top of my body. I did a nice day. The terrain was very hard with a lot of dust. We're not really used to these conditions. There were big ruts and lots of powder sand. We had to avoid traps, which is what I did today. I had a small crash in the extreme test, but nothing too serious. And I suppose I had good speed. Good speed indeed. 13 points now his advantage. In the juniors, the Spanish Grand Prix proved to be a very tight affair. The first day, the local Mario Roma was only 5 seconds off the win. A fall, though, deprived him of victory in the very final stage. The second place went to Giacomo Redondi in the second round, a result that hides another, less encouraging fact: he lost the overall lead of the championship. The new head of the Junior Championship is now the Husqvarna Australian Matthew Phillips. After resisting Romain on the first day, he beat Redondi on Sunday by 6 seconds. His advantage now 5 points of the championship. No respite. Only 4 days after the Spanish Grand Prix, it was the turn of Portugal to host the World Enduro Championship. A 45-minute drive from Lisbon, Torres Vedras is a city of 800,000 inhabitants. Although Portugal is going through difficult times, the economy of the region is one of the most prosperous in the country. Riches are many. Fertile land swept by the wind helps produce flour and energy thanks to the Atlantic Ocean nearby. and also provides food for the region as well. This is the second time that the Maxis FIM EWC has stopped in Torres Vedras, and the first appointment is the Super Test Friday night. Salvini sets the trend and is the fastest rider over the Super Test. Alex Salvini leaves his mark. The Portuguese Grand Prix is the fourth of 7 Grand Prix of the season, marking the midpoint of the championship. It might be May, but the weather is almost like autumn, cold, windy and scattered rain showers just before the race makes the track difficult to read. 12 specials form the structure of each day, a total of 220 kilometres, over 7 hours on the bike. Here is one of the hardest sections of the Link event, even for the stars of Enduro. Aussie Matthew Phillips is certainly not used to these conditions. The battle of the Finns continues. Matti Seistila must fight for a place on the podium with an old acquaintance, his compatriot and former motocross rival, Eero Remes. Advantaged Remes in the first round, Seistila in the second. Remes was happier with the conditions than Seistila and therefore faster. The riding style of a Finn in these conditions remains a feast for the eyes. Although fast, Juha Salminen looks less at ease at this type of terrain. In front of our cameras, he makes small errors and is less at ease as the ground begins to chew up. Salminen is second on Saturday, but more seriously, only 7th on Sunday. Despite a difficult start to the weekend, the fault of a bad tyre choice given the uncertain conditions, Antoine Mayo put the hammer down. Once he had changed the tyre, the relentless winning streak continued. A double for the Frenchman. At the start of the day, Juha did make some errors, and I benefited from that. So to be advantaged in the championship is very important. I've got to keep focused because today it was very hard to ride and very easy to make small errors. But that's why I've kept the focus at maximum, not crashing and grabbing those points. Overall then, with 3 rounds remaining, Antoine Mayo has a 34-point lead, while Matti Seistila, Salminen and Remes battle for that runner-up spot. "2013 will certainly be a season to forget for David Knight. Riding on a privateer Honda and with the finger injury, he retired from Portugal, putting pay to his world title hopes. For Pierre-Alexandre René, number 1 is definitely too far away. He lost too much time in race 1 to fight for the podium, but saved some blushes with a 3rd place on Sunday. It's true the championship is escaping me a little bit day by day. It's not easy, it's not good. I'm trying to fight, but we'll see what happens. Johnny Aubert is still in the game, just. He finished on the podium on the first day, but damaged his ribs, which slowed him down on Sunday. The hero of the Grand Prix of Spain knew a victory in Portugal would allow him to tie with Alex Salvini in the title race, so Ivan Cervantes attacked. But it wasn't enough. The Spaniard succumbs to a 7-second gap on Saturday and a larger 38 seconds on Sunday. Alex Salvini was definitely unstoppable. At one with his HM Honda, he found the perfect match. Without a mistake, his race management was effective, and his relationship with the red team seems to have changed him. Salminen now has a 15-point advantage over Cervantes, followed by René and Aubert. With the 6th and 7th place, the Swede Joachim Lundgren certainly did not have a happy memory of his Portuguese weekend. In turn, Elgar Lioch harnessed a good stash of points. On Saturday he took 2nd place, but the second race was more disappointing, only 5th. Two 4th places were the collection for the Italian motocross rider Manuel Moni, having a better season in E3 than previously. Local man Luis Correa shone riding for Beta. A double podium for the Portuguese, twice in 3rd position, simply his best Grand Prix since his arrival in Enduro. Matthias Bellino took time to recover from his winter operation, meaning each race he got a little bit stronger. 5th on Saturday and then 2nd on Sunday. The junior champion has finally found his strength in the seniors. I knew last year that I had a good level when I looked at the times. Even if I was a junior, I did good times compared to the seniors. I had to take many different problems this year. I still have a splint in my wrist and I have pain, but I know my value. I now have to prove it. Christos Namatown, the championship leader, continued to harvest more points. In Portugal, he dominated ahead of Lioch in the first round by 15 seconds. It was a 57-second advantage over Bellino in the second day. Despite the lack of domination in South America, he still leads by 34 points in the general standings, with Elgar Lioch now back in contact with Joachim Lundgren for that runner-up spot. To close the Grand Prix of Portugal, let's take a look at the junior category. At home, the Portuguese Luis Oliveira shines. 2nd place is the key on the first day. 2nd on Sunday, Italian Giacomo Redondi saw the gap with the Australian championship leader widen. Here, on board, one of the few errors from Matthew Phillips riding for Husqvarna. He dominated the 2 days with a 33-second advantage on Saturday and a 15-second advantage on Sunday. The results are surprising if you remember that Phillips has only just discovered the Enduro World Championship this year, learning in very different conditions to those he knows in Australia. The race would be long, 180 kilometres each day, 10 stages for a total of 56 minutes of timed portion. A programme then of 7 hours and 45 minutes aboard the bike. The terrain alternated between dry hard land and some more sandy portions. Dust would be an issue, not to be overlooked despite the wet conditions. stages are very diverse. The Enduro test, plotted in the forest, the cross test promoting jumps, while the extreme test is more technical here, on board with Joachim Lundgren. In Romania, Matti Siestula broke his big toe. Riding an unbearable pain, he managed to take fourth, the Finn, however, losing out overall. Among the unsung heroes of the championship, Nicolas Deparois had been doing well for a privateer rider. In Romania, he won an extreme test, always a great style. Eero Remes also has style. In Romania, it's another podium. Yet the TM Finn fell into a very strong battle that he had to fight with. Cristobal Guerrero was his executioner by just under 3 seconds. This was only the second podium for the Spaniard this season, Guerrero struggling to recover from a shoulder injury early on. Juha Salminen was still looking for a first win in 2013. The Romanian round representing one of the last chances to compete with Antoine Mayo in the title race. But by 7 seconds on Saturday and 10 seconds on Sunday, he lost out. His only source of satisfaction, he's now second place in the overall championship. Antoine Mayo hadn't started well, but stage by stage, he closed the gap to the lead. Sunday was better, and once again he took a double dose of success, winning the first and second days. It's his 8th and 9th victories in 2013, meaning a 41-point advantage ahead of Salminen.
Imnul Franței din nou. A fost găsit mai tehnic decât de acum 2 ani.
2 falls in the first special put an end to the ambitions for victory for Ivan Cervantes. Twice the Spaniard finished 4th, losing ground at the top of the E2 leaderboard. Johnny Albert had been unable to train for the month break before Romania, his ribs damaged too much. Clearly his fitness level not as good as normal, but to everyone's surprise, including his own, he wins the first day with a comfortable lead of 22 seconds. His first success of 2013. The next day, he also took a podium. A fight with Alex Salvini for 2 days, Pierre-Alexandre René suffered 2 setbacks that will certainly weigh on his mind. Twice he conceded to the Italian. So then, for Alex Salvini, the weekend was not simple though. He got lost on a detour in the extreme test and then fell on Saturday morning, eventually settling for second place behind Albert. He returned to victory on Sunday, beating René by 8.54 seconds. His lead now 26 points overall. As soon as the ground is hard and dry, Joachim Lundgren struggles to find traction. The Grand Prix of Romania would be a new illustration to that, the Swede struggling to manage just a 6th and a 4th place. The hero of the previous Grand Prix in Portugal, Luis Correa, took 5th place in the first round of Romania. Frenchman Fabien Planet will be the master of the Enduro test. With his strength in the special, he finished 4th. Sunday, however, was less strong. Elgar Leoc saw his direct opponent for the vice-championship spot, Joachim Lundgren, suffer, so he took the opportunity to fill points with 2 third places, and overall then moves into 2nd place. Now up to strength, Matthias Bellino wrestled with the power of one of the big 4-stroke Enduro 3-class bikes. It's unlimited in terms of power, and he managed to make this an advantage with 2 second places. Scoring twice, Christophe Martin had to withstand the threat of Bellino on the first day. His victory in the second, however, was more comfortable, with a 1 minute and 15 seconds advantage. The KTM rider's big gain was in the Enduro test. Now with a 45-point lead overall, Martin moves into title conservation mode. In the juniors, Mario Romain surprised and won by a large margin in the first round, beating the leader Matthew Phillips by more than a minute. However, on round 2, Matthew Phillips returned to the top step of the podium. Fighting hard with the Spaniard, he bettered the Hülkenberg rider in the cross tests to take the win. The lead increased in the general standings because Giacomo Redondi could do no better than 4th. Dan McCanny on the Gas and Loic Larroux on the Hülkenberg completed the podiums on both days. The first title was wrapped up in Romania. Hülkenberg's Jamie McCanny clinched the Enduro Youth Cup title with a victory on day 2.
Finally it's came, I'm world champion now, so all the pressures came off and I can enjoy it a bit more now.
The 6th and penultimate round of the EWC would be in the northwest of Greece. This is Castoria. A city of 35,000 inhabitants, the name of the town comes from castor, the European beaver. That is why this place has developed a tradition for the fur trade. The city of Beaver is also well known in Greek Macedonia for its lake and many Byzantine churches and the Ottoman architecture. Friday evening, and 5,000 spectators arrived for the 2-hour show called the Super Test. Winning this duel with Alex Salvini, Ivan Cervantes throws down the gauntlet. But Antoine Mayo crashes, losing 12 seconds. Could this be a sign of a bad weekend? With back-to-back weekends, no time for Matti Seisala to recover his broken toe. So he takes 2 different sizes of boot. To the start of round 1, a penultimate and therefore decisive round for the runaway championship leaders. Leaving Castoria, the riders head towards one of the most beautiful rallies of the year, the charm of the Greek landscape. This may be not the most touristic place of the country, but a playground for riders. Three and a half laps, 12 special tests. The Greek Grand Prix is also one of the hardest of the year, with a heavy enduro style. The Greeks are real motorbike and enduro fans. At the assistance park, barbecues are prepared, cooking famous Slovakians. Before we head into the times, let's admire the scenery of this enduro test on board with Victor Guerrero. the Enduro 1 class, the Greek terrain is hard to fathom for Eero Remes, only 8th and 6th over the 2 days. Juha Salminen also struggles. Too many mistakes from the Finn, being 6th is his best from the weekend, his fastest time, just a 3rd spot on the Enduro test. French motocross rider Jeremy Theroux placed himself in the top 5 per both days. In Greece, he's a fan of this terrain. Matti Seistola missed out on the podium on both days by the smallest of margins. Despite a final push on day 1 over the extreme test, he was beaten on day 2 by the big surprise of the event. Coming from Italy, Maurizio Michelus, riding a private Suzuki, managed a podium on Sunday for the first time since the GP of Italy in 2008. The sympathetic Italian placed 3rd, 1 second faster than Seistola and very close from 2nd position. It was Spaniard Cristobal Guerrero who took a double podium with a 2nd on day 1 and then the runner-up spot on Sunday. A clear return to form. The day, though, belonged to France's Antoine Mayo. But he could have lost it. Here, he's a lucky guy. Topping all but one of the day's specials, Mayo claimed his 10th and 11th wins of the season, clinching his 4th consecutive Enduro World Championship. Yeah, I'm relieved. I can go on holiday relaxed. No, it was important to win here because after that now there's a really big break and we could have lost all the rhythm. That's why it was important to finish well this series of races. A champion then is crowned. Husqvarna's best ambassador in E2 was Lorenzo Santolino. He got close to a first podium in the seniors, ending day 1 4th, his best ever result in E2. Beating him was Johnny Aubert, who was not able to match his pace from the week before. A crash on day 1 didn't help his 4th spot on Sunday either. Aubert's teammate Ivan Cervantes was not consistent enough and with pressure for championship only fetched an 8th spot in round 1. The second day was slightly better, in 4th, but just simply not enough. Of course, that meant Alex Salvini could continue to thrive. A small crash on day 1 cost him the win by 2.5 seconds, but his return to form on Sunday was impressive, to put one hand on the title. Pierre-Alexandre René was not Salvini's nearest challenger, but was the man to beat him on Saturday. He was no match to a mistakeless Italian on Sunday and had to settle for 2nd. Today, he has to manage the championship. He has a huge amount of points, but I think I wanted to win today. On Sunday, Luis Correa was on course for a podium until a crash dropped the Portuguese rider to 4th position. Elgar Lioc again struggled. He took a 5th and a 3rd from the race weekend, but as a bonus, his rivals fared far worse. Joachim Lundgren did manage to steal 2 points from Lioc on day 1, but then a disaster on Sunday placed him only 7th. Comfortable with his pure enduro challenge, Fabien Planet enjoyed a debut podium for Sherco, a 2nd on Saturday. He He fought off Matthias Bellino, who had to settle for third. But the revelation of the second half of the year, he took second on Sunday despite a big crash. The challenge was simple. Place 14th or better on Sunday for Namatin, and he claimed the title. Despite this easy target, the Frenchman quickly took control of the race lead at the end of the first lap, setting the fastest time in 9 of the 12 special stages. A double victory in Greece secured his second World Championship crown of E3. It's hard to say what I feel. I'm actually still in the race, really. I didn't have too much pressure because I had this small gap, but my goal was to leave Greece with a title, and that's what I've done, so I'm very happy. It's also, of course, the second title for KTM. To become world champion, Australia's Matthew Phillips did everything he could, but his rival Giacomo Redondi did everything to stop him. Phillips wins the first round by pushing until the last special test, beating the Italian by just 2.5 seconds. But on day 2, Redondi beats the Husqvarna rider by 0.38 seconds. They place second and third over the weekend. In the general standings, Redondi is still far back, with luck needed to prevent the world crown heading down under. It was a new winner on day 2. France's Loic Lariol fended off Redondi by 10 seconds. He would be the 5th different winner of the junior class rounds this year. The 7th meeting of the season, the finale of the Enduro World Championship, was the Grand Prix of France. Welcome to Sainte-Foy, a city of 7,000 inhabitants. We are really in the centre of the country. This area is the least populated of France. In a country of 300 cheeses, Sainte-Foy already has welcomed the finishing line of the Tour de France, and for the second time, the finale of the EWC. Special tests, 3.5 laps, 7.5 hours of effort. Here is the programme for the French Grand Prix. It's the second time the rally has been held in Sainte-Foy. Last one was in 2009. Riders know they'll have to face one of the hardest linked sections of the championship, called the Chemin de l'École, which means the school child's path. In France, Thomas Aldrati gives his cameraman an impressive fall. He hurts his shoulder. The weekend ends for him in this tree. The conditions were horrible, but they came much worse when the rain arrived. The French Grand Prix became simply a nightmare. Antoine Mayo took a gamble to ride the French finale on a little 125's two-stroke CC bike. Listen to that engine. The only way to ride then is maximum attack. Despite the lack of power, Antoine Mayo achieves a giant killing finish to the season with a final victory. 51 seconds ahead. Absolutely amazing. The second day was altered thanks to the horrible weather, and so a chance for Jeremy Turrell. He took advantage of a short day to take his first win of the World Championship. The main interest of the Grand Prix of France was around the battle for the world number 2 plate. Matti Seistula had the advantage going into the day, but for his opponent Juha Salminen, this last event would be symbolic. The Finnish number 19 plate wins both duels with Seistula on Saturday and Sunday, and therefore became the vice world champion in these hellish conditions. But moreover, it was the last time we would see Salminen. Retiring after 18 seasons and 98 wins, it's an incredible legacy. The final classification of E1 then. Remes finishes the championship in 4th place, followed by Joly, Guerrero and Despois. Mayo, Salminen and Seistula are the top 3. David Knight could have won the Grand Prix of France in these epic conditions, but he was penalised for checking in too early and therefore given a 3-minute penalty. Knight is also on his way to retirement. He'll now concentrate on the Super Enduro World Championship. A nightmare weekend for Pierre-Alexandre René, just 5th on Sunday. There will be no French miracle, and the Husaberg rider loses his 2012 title. Alex Salvini just needed 7 points to take the title, but despite these conditions, the Italian pushed for more, managing to take the win by a huge margin of 51 points. Under pressure and in horrible weather, Salvini becomes the world champion for the first time.
I have no words to explain this moment now. It's incredible. It's been a long season, and today was maybe the worst day to get the championship because the condition was crazy. But I got the championship. I got also the race, and I want to just say thanks to all my team, HM Honda Zanardo, to my mechanic Tony, Cidu, Tullio Pellegrinelli, all my family, all my friends that they come here to support me, my girlfriend, everyone. Just thanks a lot.
It's a big moment for the Enduro in Italy.
I think so. I think.
13 long years waiting for a title in Italy. The emotion of Salvini is strong. But also the same for HM Honda, who last celebrated the title with the late Mika Ahola. Here is the final ranking of E2, the tightest championship category. Salvini ahead of René, Cervantes, Aubert and Oriol Mena round out the top 5. Here is the fall of the weekend. That of Florian Bourquet, a flying effort. Joachim Lundgren loves extreme racing conditions and hoped the rain would make a difference for the championship. He took advantage of El Garlioque's panic on the first day. And therefore, the Estonians' advantage depleted after a 7th on day 1. But a shorter second day helped him to a second and therefore ensured at the same time he held on to that second in the championship. It was a season-long duel. In France, Christophe Lambertin made a new record, that of a victory advantage. The biggest ever, 2 minutes and 59 seconds on the first day. He did, however, fall and hurt his wrist on Sunday, meaning a DNF. It gave an opportunity for a new winner. After starting the season in the operating room, Matthias Bellino capped the year off in style, his first success in the seniors for the junior champion. Here is the ranking of the E3 class. Lambertin, Lioc, Lundgren, Luis Correa in 4th position and Bellino in the top 5. In the juniors, 20 riders failed to finish the first day. There are only 8 survivors. Loic Lariot is one of the finest figures of the weekend, winning the second round, and this on the first. The winner of that first round was the rider from the Isle of Man, Dan McCanney, on the Gas. Finally a first victory in the juniors to add to his Super Enduro world title. Finished 22 seconds behind McCanney, Matthew Phillips still wrapped up the Junior World Championship. In his first year in Europe, the Australian rookie is the great revelation of the year. And he succeeds Matthias Bellino up to the seniors.
Great, pretty exhausted right now. It's been a long day, and I'm sure after we change this tyre we'll speak again and let it all sink in. Thanks.
That's important for you for Australia as well?
Very much so. I hope it encourages the younger guys to come and have a go also. So yeah, it's been a good championship.
Great.
In the general standings, Giacomo Redondi finished second, followed by McCanney, Romain and Lariot. A battle royale between the juniors. We've saved the best till last, the Female Enduro World Cup. Since its inception 4 years ago, the level of girls has increased. But this was the first year without creator and ambassador Ludovic Pioy. 4 events were scheduled: Spain, Portugal, Greece and France. At the Spanish opening, Frenchwoman Juliette Perez took a first podium in the World Cup. It was a difficult race where Brit Jane Daniels took the honours, finishing second in the first round. The next day, the second place went to Jessica Gardner. They had nothing to revenge against Laia Sainz on home soil. With very large advantages, the 2012 champion dominated the race weekend, collecting 2 maximum scores. A week later, it was Portugal, and with Sainz absent on Saturday, committed to the X Games, rivals benefited. Audrey Rosin and Australia's Jessica Gardner star, Gardner with the victory. But Princess Leia returned on Sunday, back on the familiar top step of the podium, with her gold medal collected the day before from the X Games. Conditions were different in Romania for the third test. Laia Sainz had changed motorcycle brand, but it didn't affect her dominance of the class. She won both races and regained the top of the championship with a 6-point advantage. Behind the Spaniard, Australia's Jessica Gardner offered Sherco 2 more second places. And then the final, the Grand Prix of France in the most extreme conditions. Brit rider Jane Daniels shines on the official Husberg, winning both days. Laia Sainz though needed to be safe. she preferred 2 second places. After 13 titles in trial, this then is her second Enduro championship. I'm very happy. It's been a hard weekend, so tough with the weather. I struggled, but finally my target was to win the World Championship, and of course I'm happy, because that was a hard ambition. I'm happy and I want to thank all the people who have helped me. In the general standings, she wins 6 points ahead of Jane Daniels and Jessica Gardner, although it's Daniels with more wins and therefore becomes vice champion. Alex Salvini completed the prize list by winning the prestigious Mika Ahola Brave One trophy for being the best rider in the Enduro test, whereas Husqvarna's Extreme test went to Antoine Mayo. Here are the heroes of the entire season's work, ending the story of the 2013 season. But there's no doubt, the Enduro World Championship continues.